This is Joe Coleman, the new television champion, the super soldier, the genetic jackpot, the Jack Knight, the Tan Lantern, and the master of the universe.
This is the beast of nature, the freak, Rob Terry.
Hi, I'm OVW official Josh Ashcraft.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at Triple Threat Talk. I'm Dean Hill.
This is Ricky Chevy, and I'm the blue-collar millionaire.
I'm Mr. Peck. God, that's great every time. Spectacular.
We're the Broner Brothers.
I am the One Girl Revolution, Taylor Hendricks.
This is Brandon Espinoza.
I'm the Assassin.
I'm Bruno Raul Limata.
I'm James Moose Thomas.
I'm Shiloh Jones.
My name is Ron Head. I'm the announcer for OVW.
I'm Jamin Olivencia.
I'm Alex Johnston. I'm Rocco Bellagio.
I'm Kerry Bodie, the Ohio Valley Wrestling fan advocate.
Raphael Constantine.
I'm Rand Perez.
My name's Muhammad Ali. Bayez.
I'm Paradise.
This is Ohio Valley Wrestling referee Chris Sharp.
This is Sexy Sean Casey. I'm Chris Silvio.
This is Michael Hayes. This is Jason West.
And you're watching Triple Threat Talk.
And welcome everyone to yet another thrilling edition of Triple Threat Talk, episode 85. I am the Dr. Gary Lockard. I am joined by Mr. Jimmy Postmaster Jones Biggers. I almost forgot your last name there. I don't know why I do that. Big B, Brandon Ramiro, and just Kendra.
Just kidding.
Switch me spots over there, fella. I know.
Well, we figured out that if we put the two big guys in the middle, no pun intended.
245 pounds. Come on.
I don't mean big as in big like that. I'm just saying, if you put the two smaller people, you know, me and just Kendra are the small ones of the group, and the two big guys in the middle, everybody fits in nicely.
Nonetheless, it is good to have you back this week, sir.
Yeah, I had a family gathering. I had a 10 last week.
We do. We need a bigger set. We need to.
The father-in-law turned 55 last week, so it was kind of a big deal. So we took him out, had a nice big celebration last week. And
I didn't know he was that old.
I know. I offered to take him to McDonald's and buy his first senior citizen coffee, but he turned me down nonetheless. But hey, what can we say? All right. So let's start with views or questions. I don't know who handled that while I was gone last week.
So we did. So we'll do views or questions, and we'll kick into headlines, and then we'll do some coverage of a little bit of wrestling, including our take.
A lot of wrestling.
On the Royal Rumble. Yeah,
a lot of wrestling this week. From the Buckin' 5.
Bless you.
How do you feel about Take-Two acquiring the WWE video game license from THQ, Big B?
Well, it's no mystery that THQ's financial troubles are obviously out there. It was a shame to see it happen. If you were following on Twitter the day it was going on, it was like, you know, every piece was being pulled that was, you know, a game being worked on that was being developed, published by THQ. The game was being pulled from here. It was just like, it was getting sold to the highest bidder pretty much, and the games went here and here and here. And obviously the WWE video game license was no different. There were rumors that it was going to go to EA, which was personally what I wanted to happen. I wanted to go to EA because they're obviously a big company. They have a lot of money. The one thing I was looking forward to is because EA has this thing with the sports games called Game Face, where you can take a picture of yourself and put yourself in the game. So I think to bring that to a wrestling game would kind of be something new and different. But Take-Two bought it. They're known for making the Grand Theft Auto games. They're a very respectable, good company. So I hopefully this acquisition is good for the WWE games license, because obviously it was a good license before with THQ. Hopefully Take-Two takes care of it, and the WWE games continue to do as well as they haven't done in the past.
Made by the same people as Grand Theft Auto, will be lucky to get out of there without a hot coffee mode or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it could be a good thing, but I like Big B's thought. I wish it would have been EA Sports. Although I have a feeling that if we'd have put the Doctor's face in the Game Face mode, the screen probably would have broke.
Hey! Shut up.
Also from the Buckin' 5. What are some of your favorite Super Bowl commercials of all time?
Betty White. That was just
Can you elaborate? Maybe people know what that is.
Betty White, the commercial where she gets hit by the log.
Snickers.
The Snickers commercial where she gets hit by the log. That was awesome. And I'll Bud Bowl that they used to do. Remember the Bud Bowl? That was awesome. I like that. Yeah.
I like the Doritos ones where the guy was eating the chips and he licked the cheese off of his colleague's finger.
Yes.
Cheese. It's so funny. Like I love it.
I like the one with the Doritos commercial. I'm a little partial.
Oh,
but the one where the lady's like, "Honey, have you seen our cat?" And the dog is burying the car. And and he's like, "No." But
I guess it's a trio of Doritos. I mean, it's no mystery on the show what commercial I put in every week from the pug commercial.
That's my Doritos.
Yeah, that commercial. That's in every week, so obviously I'm a fan of it. Another commercial I put in back when it was during Super Bowl time last year was the Skechers commercial with the dog, Mr. Quigley running.
Mark Cuban.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, so that was one. I liked Mean Joe Green. That's another classic. This year it should be fantastic.
The Budweiser commercials are always really good. Honestly,
all of the E-Tray commercials with the baby sucking in it. Those are.
And then one I can remember last year, the spoof commercial that Chevrolet did on the Apocalypse. That was really good. And the guy sitting there eating Twinkies, and who would have thought the apocalypse would have passed? But we don't have Twinkies. So apparently, Twinkies don't survive everything.
It's not.
And finally, from the Buck and Five, if each of you had your own football team, what would the team name be, and who would you have on the team? So I think what we'll do here is we'll give a name of a team, and then we'll pick 3 players that we would like to see on the team. And we all know Big B's would be Cody's mustache.
Oh!
What? That doesn't make any sense. Who's going first here?
I guess we'll start from that end and work our way down. So we'll let just Kendra kick it off.
Do I have to make up a team name, like my own team name?
Yeah, come on, you can do it.
Okay. The name of my team would be the Bone Crushers.
I like it.
And who else? Okay, let's see.
And 3 people you could have on your team, who would you pick?
I would like AJ Green to be one.
Excellent.
Michael Vick to be another. And let's see. I'll take Michael Johnston to be the third person.
All right.
Respectable.
I'm going to pick a team name. I actually created this team in Madden 2010, so I'm going to stick with it. I made a team called the Kentucky Knights. I made that team, so maybe bring some football to Kentucky, professional. I'm going to pick 3 players. I'm going to pick 1 quarterback, 1 receiver, and a defender.
That's exactly what I was going to do.
Okay, quarterback, I'm going to take Russell Wilson. He's a young kid. He's got a bright future. I pick him. Wide receiver, I'm going to go with just Kendra. AJ Green is phenomenal. He's one of the best receivers in all football, not just the AFC. And probably a defender. In his prime, I'd probably take Ray Lewis because there's no better leader in the history of football and defensive than Ray Lewis. He exuberates so much passion for the sport, and just he'd be good.
Would you tolerate deer antlers?
Yes, I would. We'll get into that. Anyway.
Mine, no surprise, being named the doctor's order. I would take, I'm going to do quarterback, offensive player, and defensive player. My quarterback, I would probably at this point either have to, I got to answer it straight. I'm probably going to go, I would take Colin. I'm sorry.
Okay. I would take Colin. You're right to.
Offensively, I'm also going to have to go with you two. AJ Green is just phenomenal. I wouldn't be surprised if after it's all said and done, he's like broken a lot of records.
I have love for my receivers, but AJ Green is balling.
I mean, he's just great. And then my defensive player, my defensive captain would be Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis is just a phenomenal player. He's the best linebacker in the NFL right now, and there's just nobody that can touch him.
I take Peyton Manning.
What's your name, fella?
I would have to say I would name him the Lightning. I think that'd be a cool football name. Okay. I don't know why. I've always thought that would be a cool football name. But I would take Peyton Manning. I would have to say I would go with Randall Cobb.
Good one.
And Troy Polamalu.
It's pretty good.
That's
all good teams there.
That's who I would pick. From Against All Odds 20. What are you guys' thoughts on the rumored WrestleMania card? Punk versus Taker, Cena versus Rock Part Duh, and Brock versus Triple H Part Duh.
Do you want to answer this now, or do you want to rant about it later?
I want to rant about it later.
I want to rant about it later.
Okay, so we'll get to it later.
Okay.
Like I said, we said before, we're not ignoring it, we're just ignoring it for now.
And finally, from Big Corn 16. You guys think it will be, again, before I even finish the question.
Yeah. So Bitcoin against odds 20. We're gonna delve into these later. Obviously, Postmaster Jones and the Doctor have something to rant about this, so we're gonna get to that later on.
So with that wraps up user questions.
Pretty quick.
Short but sweet. We want to thank everybody for all their questions, comments, quandaries, queries, and criticisms. And you can always leave those on our website, www.triplethreattalk.com, or on our Facebook page, or tweet at us at Triple Threat Talk. So with that, it's time to anoint the user of the week.
I mean, first of all, whose turn is it?
I'm not sure.
Okay, before we get into whose turn it is there really any debate who's the viewer of the week? Because we didn't answer anyone else's question.
Actually, I think there is.
There is,
because we're going to be ranting about it later.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of tough.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
because
it's up to you.
I have a huge rant about this question.
Okay, and I think
Well, then who do you get a couple with?
Right, you got a couple with big coins.
You know what? I'm in a generous mood. Bucking 5 against all odds 20. Bitcoin 16. You're the Triple Threat Talk triple viewer of the week.
So wait a minute now. So it looks like this week. So whoever asks the question is viewer of the week. So why, if people ask for a question, they'd be viewer of the week. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay. I'm just in a good mood.
But they've all got.
I had a week off. I'm rested. I'm ready to go. I'm just in a good mood. Why not?
All right, so
it happens.
Spark conversation.
It happens. All right.
So, since I'm back, Big B, if you would do the honors, please, sir.
He did it last week too, so go ahead.
Doctor, give me the news. I got the bad case of the headline blues.
Oh yeah, feel the burn.
You know what? I missed it, so I'm just gonna join in on you here. So.
I will never join you as long as I live.
Never say never.
Never.
All right. Go ahead. What did you get?
No, I was laughing. I'm sorry.
Ray Lewis, suspected of PEDs during recovery from tricep injury, but he called it deer antler spray.
What the is that?
So here's my question. Here's the question. Now bear with me for 1 second. When weird things like this happen, and you might, I might refer to you just for 1 second here, because is it correct to assume that something is not done or corrected in the legal world unless it's been done before? So, i.e., there is a law in the state of Michigan that you cannot tie an alligator to a fire hydrant, which means in the past somebody would have had to go to the state of Florida, grab said alligator, and then tie that alligator to a fire hydrant.
Typically, that's how it goes. There's a precedent. There's something that
Right.
We get a law when it's like, okay, something's wrong with this. Let's prohibit it.
So what does that have to do with deer antler spray and Ray Lewis? Okay, I'm glad you asked that question, because here's the answer. Who thinks of deer antler spray?
They said there's an ingredient in it that is banned.
Apparently, it's been done before.
Who's the guy that thinks about that? You know what would be great for an injury? Deer antler spray.
I don't get it. I'm befuddled.
The thing I have a problem with the story is why is it coming out now when obviously he did it to, according to the story, he did it to recover from the injury. So obviously it was going on, according to this, it was going on, at the time he was trying to recover. So why does it have to come out now during the biggest week of the year in terms of football?
You just answered your own question.
This
is why. Because there's always somebody out there that wants to rain on somebody else's parade. Yeah. And what parade is that? Ray Lewis has the possibility to do what not many people can do. Right. Only people like Jerome Bettis and a few other people can say. John Elway. They say that they went out on top. Right. He has that opportunity this week. So there's going to be somebody out there. They're going to dig up something. Mm-hmm. And what perfect and better way to bring it up than less than a week before the Super Bowl, in the last game of his career and probably the biggest game of his life, than now.
But he is so strong-willed that it's not even going to stand in the way. You know what I mean? Like, come hell high water, he'll be on the field. Or I don't think that it'll get to him as mentally as you would think so.
Right.
I mean,
it's just
ridiculous.
Yeah. I think what happens here is, I think you're right. I think he is mentally strong enough to block it out, but Is the NFL going to let this go? Are they going to take an action before Sunday? What are they going to do? Because right now, he's doing, I will say, usually I'm all about fessing up, usually. But right now, he is deny. And Colin had a great point this morning on his show. He said, if your wife is coming at you with a knife, and she said, did you cheat on me? If the angry wife has a weapon in her hand and she's accusing you of cheating, it doesn't matter which way it goes. The answer is no. Right. I did not cheat on you. That's the answer. Yeah. Right now he is saying no because he is in the position for the biggest week of his career to, as you say, go out on top.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand. I'm with you and him. I don't know why this is being brought up now.
I don't know.
I have a feeling it is, to your point, to say that
exactly. That's why they
to rain on somebody's
If you ever notice, when stuff like this comes out, it's always around whoever it comes out on. Something big is about to happen. Something big has happened, or something big is going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
So it's never a coincidence to me.
And when we get back from break, we're gonna cut into headlines. But Big B has a special guest on the show to cover the Australian Open and a little bit of tennis. So we're going to delve into that, and then we're going to finish up headlines. Stay tuned. Triple Threat Talk.
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life, nothing gets to you. Staying fresh, staying cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life, fresh goes better. Mentos fresh, fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
Take me back to 1999. Yuvo, play jukebox. Need a better car? My Optima was ranked most appealing midsize sedan by J.D. Power and Associates.
Who are you?
I'm you from the future. You should be playing that game.
But all you did was dunk in that game.
Bingo. Yeah.
And welcome back to Triple Threat Talk. I am Big B, and now I have a very special guest here. We haven't had him for a couple weeks. We finally got him here, Alex Johnston. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right. So, also get to the topic at hand here. The Australian Open just concluded this past weekend. The champions this year were the champions of last year. What's your take on the Australian Open?
You know, I love, Grand Slams. They're just such great events. I didn't get to see as much of the Australian Open this year as I have in previous years, but, I mean, in terms of outcome, I think certainly on the men's side, there was no surprises, really. Once Murray got to the final against Djokovic, I wanted Murray to win because he's my fellow Brit, but I tipped Djokovic going into the final. Just he was the form player. He trounced Ferrer in the semi-final, and Murray had just come off the 5-setter against Federer. So I thought that Djokovic would have the edge, and it was close, but very close for the first two sets. And if Murray could have found a way to sneak that second set, then I think it could have been a different story. But no, in the end, I think the best player won. So all credit to Novak. He's doing the business out there. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, obviously Djokovic making his stamp that he is the #1 player in the world right now. Flip to the women's side, as the rank obviously wins back-to-back. The question to you I have, instead of her winning her second Grand Slam in a row in Australia, is what's your take on what happened with her in her match against Sloane Stephens? Because obviously a lot of controversy what happened during that injury timeout, and a lot of people kind of took it as in terms of taking easy way out. What's your take on that?
Yeah, no, very interesting question. I personally, I don't think the rule should allow that to happen. I think she was in her right to take that break because it's within the rules. what she said after the match on court, straight after her win. She said she was nervous, and that was the reason for her break. And then in the official interview, in the press conference, a couple of hours later, she said it was actually due to an injury. So she's changed the story since then. There's kind of been a lot of uproar, and she said no, that it came across all wrong. She was truly injured. So it's hard to really figure out exactly what she was feeling. Only she knows, really. But I think it's more a fault of the rules than the player themselves. It's just bad luck. Sloane Stephens, I think she's got a great career ahead of her, and it's unfortunate that happened at such a crucial moment, and it obviously broke her momentum. So I feel bad for her, but it's just one of those things. There's certainly been a lot of talk about it, and I think Azarenka is, she's probably learned a lot from this occasion. She won't be doing that anytime soon again, I don't think, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, do you see the officials hopefully looking at this rule and maybe changing in the near future? Because, I mean, you can't question a player if they're hurt or not. They know if they're hurt, but in terms of what she did, she said one thing and then said another. So can they look into this and say, okay, we have to do some kind of rule change to this thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely there's a case to really review the rules. I know that they made a change that you can only now leave the court for a bathroom break when it's on your own serve. So, that's definitely a positive thing because you're not breaking the server's momentum. But yeah, no, it definitely needs reviewing. You shouldn't be able to take a break, if you just feel like it, if that was the true intention. But I feel like Azarenka is well respected, and I don't think she was doing it necessarily to break Sloane Stephens' rhythm. But it's definitely something the people in charge should look at.
Yeah. So moving on from the Australian Open, obviously, Davis Cup coming up, and then the French Open. Obviously, we all anticipate the return of Rafael Nadal. Is he still the favorite going into Roland Garros, or is Djokovic still is the favorite now because he's playing the best tennis out of anybody?
Great question. Right now, I'd have to say Djokovic has to be the favorite. Just what he's shown us over the last couple of years, really. He's been, 2011 speaks for itself, so dominant. Last year, he picked up a slam and played well throughout the year. And yeah, with Rafa being out for so long and not knowing how he is coming back, it just you'd have to put Djokovic the favorite. But over the next few months, we're definitely going to find out a lot more about how Nadal's doing, and I think he's due to come back in the South American circuit, if I think I'm correct. And I guess we'll see then how his health issues are doing. I know, speaking to a lot of people, there's kind of a mixed reaction. A lot of people think he's going to really struggle. Personally, I don't think he would come back and play if he was going to be half the player that he was before. I don't think that's in his psyche, if you will. He never comes on court injured and retires on the court. I don't think I've ever seen him do that. So I think if he was severely, he couldn't compete at the level anywhere near the level that he was before, I don't think he'd come back. But yeah, whether or not he'll win the French Open this year is a big question. It's definitely some doubts. So it's going to be a very interesting clay court season, that's for sure. And
to continue with Rafael Nadal, I've said countless times on the show that the physical style that he plays is, obviously taking a toll on his body, not just, it's mostly his knees because he's had knee problems in the past. I've said if he continues to play this way, his career is not going to be as long as it should be. Like, you could compare him to the certain type of Bjorn Borg, where he quit early and he didn't really reach as many Grand Slams as you thought he probably would. In the terms of Nadal, where he plays his physical style and his injuries keep piling up, and he just can't. Do you see that the way Nadal plays? Is his career not going to be as long as he anticipated?
I don't know. I think the way the game is right now, everyone's playing a pretty physical style. If you look at Djokovic, he plays an extremely physical style, all-court player, but if you look at him, all these slow motion replays, you see how physical they are on the court. They get so low. You see his sliding, and that's not just Novak. That's Murray. That's Ferret. He's a great example of what brutal sport it can be at times. You often see him coming back from 2 sets of love down at Grand Slams, and that's not really out of the ordinary for him. So there's a lot of guys that play this kind of really physical style, and yeah, maybe it does take a toll on their body and take a year or two off their careers, maybe more. Who knows? But I think it's down to a lot the individual. Federer over the years, he's been exceptional, showing how if you look after your body and play a certain way, then yeah, maybe you can play into your mid-30s. We'll see with him. He says he wants to play in 2016 Olympics, but maybe it does take a toll. I'm probably not the best one to answer that question, but yeah, it's definitely a factor.
So looking out to the rest of 2013, do you see this trend of the top 4 winning all these Grand Slams? Like, do you see the last year where everyone was different, or is someone going to break through that top 4, top 5? Like, other than Djokovic, Murray, Federer, and Nadal, is someone out that side of that top 5 that can maybe move their way into there, like Del Potro in 2009, or is top 4 pretty much dominant right now?
The way I see it is, I think unless something severely happens and changes, I see that trend continuing pretty much. If Djokovic slips off slightly, Murray is going to be there, or Federer, and Nadal if he's fit. I think they could potentially, Berdych if he puts a run together, it can be extremely dangerous. He's beaten all those guys at some stage, I think, but he's come up lacking in the big matches. Wimbledon final a couple of years ago, he lost out and didn't play his best tennis. But yeah, I think it would take a pretty special effort from one of those other guys to break through. What you're looking at is those guys are so solid, especially over the course of 2 weeks. They don't generally really get tested in the first couple of rounds. Whereas if some of those other guys have an off day, Tim Zarovich sometimes in the past. They can sometimes make life hard for themselves. That's not always the case, but I think those top 4 guys are going to be dominant for at least the next 2 or 3 years.
Right. So now to transition to you, I actually read your article this afternoon about your stance on not enough American tennis stars in the world. Like you said, they're from like France and Europe. I guess we can say Sloane Stephens is on the women's side, but is there anyone on the men's side other than maybe John Isner or Ryan Harrison that could possibly be the next American star?
There are some guys up and coming actually. I think there's quite a few college guys that could actually make the jump into professional tennis. Steve Johnson is one. He did well at the Open last year in 2012. He because of his NCAA win, he got the wild card and he came through his first 2 matches. So he made the 3rd round, which was a great effort. I think in 2011 he also got the wild card because he won the NCAAs twice, and that time around he lost to Bogomolov Jr. I think in 5 sets. So for him to come back next year and win a couple of rounds was a big leap. And I think at the moment he's around 150 in the world. But there are also some other guys as well. Dennis Fiddler comes to mind. He's around that ranking as well. Stanford graduate Bradley Klahn. You've got to put him in there in that mix as well. Maybe not hasn't shown the big results yet. Although he did beat Meltzer in the first round of the US Open. So yeah, that was a huge win. But yeah, Ryan Harrison. He's shown that he can be a consistent top 100 player. Whether or not he can crack the top 10 or top 20 remains to be seen. I'm not sure. So there are some guys that have the potential. Also Ryan Williams, also a very good, accomplished college player. So there are some guys, between 100 and 200 in the world that are showing signs of real promise. So I think you'll see some guys coming through if not this year, definitely next year.
Right. So to close the interview for the show this week, obviously we messaged back and forth via Twitter, and you said you were in the future. You've played some futures events. Is that correct?
Yeah, I played some futures in the past.
Okay. So for the people at home, futures is like the AA kind of. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically the first step towards professional tennis.
Right.
That's the first stage you have to go through if you want to then progress onto challengers and then to ATP events. It's the first run.
Right. So I want to thank Alex for taking his time out to be on the show this week. Is there a place they can find more about you if they want to see like your progress or keep track of you or anything?
Yeah, I'm actually part of the Middlebury men's tennis team with the Panthers. So if you want to follow our results, if you go onto Facebook and type in Middlebury men's tennis, we have a page there. We try and keep it updated every week, if not more. We start our season in March, so that's not too far away, and I hope you guys take an interest and follow us. That's where you can find us. Also on Twitter, Middlebury men's tennis.
Absolutely. Definitely going to keep a lookout for that. I want to definitely thank you once again for taking the time out to be on our show this week, and good luck to you in your career. Hope to see you, playing in the professional level sometime soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be on the show.
And we'll be right back with more Triple Threat Talk right after this.
No one expected me to be here. No one expected me to be a starter, to hit game-winning shots, or even play in this league. Well, I'm not here to live up to anyone else's expectations. I'm here to live up to mine.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. We'd like to thank the special guest interviewer that Big B conducted with earlier today. We unfortunately couldn't be here for that interview, but Big B handled it like a pro. And Big B, thoughts on the interview? Thoughts on your thoughts on the Australian?
Well, first of all, I want to definitely thank Alex Johnston for taking the time out to do the interview yet again. I thanked him multiple times. Obviously, he gave me some actually good advice, and not just in terms of his perspective on the game of tennis, but it actually helped me if I want to do what I want to do, if I want to try to become a tennis player. He gave me like good pointers on how to go about that. He gave me like the direct route to go, which I really appreciated that. I'm not going to cover the Australian Open much because I really covered a lot of it in the interview, but Alex and me went back and forth and made some good points about Australia Open. We talked about Djokovic winning 3 straight and the issue with Victoria Azarenka. I want to get your perspective on that. That's the one big topic that I think is floating around in terms of the tennis topics are out there, and Pepsi. Did you hear or see anything about this Azarenka story? Or
yes.
Okay, so you know what's going on about that. So I'm on the position where I don't think it's fair that what she did in terms of taking it, because tennis is all about momentum. And it's a sport of who's on top at one point. So Sloane Stephens actually, she broke her to really get back on serve. The momentum's in her court, literally. And Azarenka takes a 10-minute injury timeout, comes back, wins the match. And her post-match interview didn't really sound like she was hurt. She said, I almost avoided the choke of the year, and I didn't want to lose this match, and nerves involved. Then she comes out, later during the media interview saying, I couldn't breathe. What is your take on this? What's going on with that? I have no idea. So.
Here's what I have on this. Sloane Stephens should have won that match, and it wasn't right for Victoria Azarenka to call the injury timeout.
Right.
And it's kind of like flopping in basketball. Mm-hmm. I think there needs to be a stop put to it because...
Well, they fouled now.
Yeah, but, this whole week, though, I saw people getting away with it. Whether it was a Kentucky game, whether it was a U of L game, whether it was the Duke game, whether it was Creighton, whether it was Wichita State. I was watching a lot of basketball this week, and I still saw flopping a lot more than when I should see it. The point that I'm trying to make is there needs to be an exam, maybe on the sideline, because the NFL is doing this.
Yeah.
Okay? The NFL is doing this. And at some point, you have to keep a little bit of integrity in the game. Okay?
Yeah.
I think what needs to be done is there needs to be a physician on call. And if somebody takes an injury timeout and they are faking it, yeah, thank you. And they are faking it.
Right.
Maybe there needs to be a penalty.
Well, they have trainers on court to inspect them, obviously.
Right.
But I know I was
to Victoria Azarenka's point, and she was saying it herself.
Yeah.
I was going to lose that match, and then all of a sudden, I'm hurt.
And Alex agreed with me, I think, and I've said this before. I said this on Twitter too. I said there needs to be some kind of rule change where and Brad Gilbert and Patrick McEnroe, they're big advocates of that, where they say you shouldn't be able to take a timeout on if you're on your serve, which I agree with that too. I think you're not going to make if they have to take an injury timeout, that's one thing, but to do this and then say one thing and then say another, it's kind of like, what are you doing? And then obviously people that know more tennis than I do, they obviously say Azarenka's not liked in the locker because of obviously her grunting and then kind of things she's done in the past. So this doesn't really help her cause. I mean, she can say one thing and she can mean another. That's fine, but this doesn't help her cause.
No, not at all. And I think this is going to spark a little bit of controversy in the tennis world. I think it has to.
It does.
At what point do you say what's more important? Do we need to let these play? Because she's not the only one that's done it.
No.
She is not the only one that's done it. And I think at one point you have to say, do we want to keep integrity or do we want to allow a little bit of this BS to continue?
Right. This is where, like you were saying with the alligator, in Michigan, the law, they have to set a precedent.
Right.
Like, start with one person, which sounds like in her match, she should have been the person they started with, change it, no, you can't do that, and just let the match play out how it would have played out, and then from that match on, you will know I can't do this, and if you do this, then we're gonna make you play unless your knees out of socket, and you're literally hurt, because you can tell when somebody's hurt.
Yeah.
There's no faking a real injury, kind of stuff. Yeah. I think they need to set a precedent because that's very upsetting. Because tennis is very exhausting.
Yeah.
And I know that they put a lot of work and energy into preparing for those matches. So.
It's the thing, and she was the hot topic, Sloane Stephens, so that she got that taken away from her.
She's a hot topic, all right.
That's not what I meant.
I tell you who's the worst at faking injuries is soccer players.
But see, soccer players,
they're bad about it.
Soccer players, though, are the most well-conditioned athletes on the planet.
I know, but
it's miserable.
It's ridiculous. Up and constantly. Oh, I'm hurt. Oh, I'm hurt.
But see, they can get hurt very easily.
Yeah, they can, but sometimes they fake it. Sometimes it seems like
the difference between soccer and every other sport on the planet is the fact that there are no timeouts in soccer. You are constantly moving, and you can cramp. You can get Charlie horses. It is really easy to injure themselves. From someone who used to play soccer, it is incredibly easy to
kick to the head. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I used to play soccer. I just wasn't in shape enough. I had to.
Speaking of soccer, did you guys see the guy that kicked the ball boy?
No.
Oh, well, I'll say that because he should definitely be Idiot of the Week.
Okay.
And we'll show the clip, but there was a match, I believe it was over in Europe. I'll explain a little bit now. Okay. The ball went out of bounds or something, and the ball boy went to fetch it, and for whatever reason, he wouldn't give it back to the player or something. And so the player just straight up kicked the kid. He's a young kid. Just ran back and kicked him.
Good grief.
So then the guy got red carded and thrown out of the game.
I would hope so.
But definitely we'll talk a little more about that later.
Yeah, so have you ever had somebody in your life that you just didn't have an excuse to get rid of, and now all of a sudden an excuse comes forth and you're gonna hop on it? Because I think New York Yankees are going through that now with A-Rod, because there's a file at this place called Biogenesis of America that definitively links A-Rod to taking PEDs.
Yeah, it wasn't just him; it was other players.
It wasn't just
Cabrera and a bunch of other stuff.
So I do believe that relationship will be ending very shortly.
Yeah, here's the thing about this. The Yankees should have no issues with cutting ties with A-Rod. First of all, he was absolutely atrocious in the postseason for them. Like he usually was. The only postseason he had was decent was when they won the Series in 2009. So he hasn't really produced in the postseason like other players have. He's always had that MO, A-Rod. So, but last year he was abysmal, and it's just he was obviously linked to steroids a couple of years back when he was with the Texas Rangers, and then now he's the PEDs. Yeah, the Yankees. Here's the issue with them getting rid of Aaron, terminating his contract. Yeah, the Yankees have a huge sum of money, but they have to pay a lot to get rid of him because his contract is still in full. So I don't know if they get rid of him or not. He wouldn't play to the All-Star break anyway because of his injury from last season. I mean, I personally think they should cut ties with him because he's not producing. This obviously puts a black cloud on the Yankees organization because they're dealing with not only him coming back, but Jeter's not 100% yet. He's still working to get back healthy. They've lost a lot of their points because they traded him away. So I think they should cut ties with A-Rod because, like I said, he hasn't produced. The story just doesn't look good. I think they need to get rid of him.
It's a business. It's like, this is where, like, personal ties, you have to put those to the side. And it's like, once you become a liability to our organization, it becomes strictly business. And it's like when the bad outweighs the good, you just kind of, in any relationship, if you write down all the things, the good things, the bad things, if the bad outweigh the good, gotta let it go. And this is about business. It makes them look really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, if he doesn't care enough about his image, about the team's image, it's not worth it.
It's true.
They could pay somebody else a little less.
And what about that thing you were talking about last year when he was getting girls' phone numbers from
it's about when he, like, late last season when he was he's sending the dugout, sending ball boys up to girls and writing his phone number on these baseballs and giving them to these women.
Last time I checked, wasn't he dating Tori Wilson?
I thought so, but he's an idiot. But that's either here or there. Tiger Woods.
Your boy Tiger.
My boy Tiger.
I put this in here specifically for you. I wanted you to read this story because I wanted you to read what I have after. That should make you a little bit happy.
That makes me very happy. Okay. We all know I'm a big Tiger guy.
Yes.
We all know when he won early in the season last year how excited I was.
Yep.
We remember that. But I did watch. He's the only reason I watch golf. I know Big B's like, oh, what about Rory? I said, no, he's still Tiger's thunder.
Rory is awesome.
I mean, Rory is awesome. I'm not going to lie. But I think, Tiger Woods is one of those guys. He's another sports figure of you either love him or you hate him.
Absolutely.
He's not a in-between guy. He because of the way his aura. I tell you, you need to pick up that book by Hank Haney and read it. How Tiger used to be. How Tiger could walk on a course and just look at a guy, and a guy would almost like shake in his freaking golf shoes.
He got swag.
Yeah, he's got swag, exactly. And it looked like Tiger had some swag this past weekend. Because it looked like he had that mentality of bring it. You know what I mean?
Well, he's had success at this event before. He's won several times.
Yes. Yep. But I mean, that is a very hard course to play. I mean, I know he's very successful at that course. But it's a very... he did complain about the time of play. I think he said it took nearly 3 hours to play 9 holes, and he was not happy about that.
Right.
There were definitely following circumstances.
I know, and he said the greens were very slow. Yeah. But he did win. He won pretty handily. It wasn't much of a competition. Right. He basically just bashed
7 up on the last.
I mean, he won by 5, but he said himself he was frustrated at the end of the way. Yeah. Like I said, with the way the playing was going, and
it was a very not well run golf tournament, but it also wasn't their fault. They had several other factors.
They had fog issues, they had rain, they had they had a lot of things. But your stat here you put down 5 out of the last 6 times that Tiger has won his first event, he has gone on to win a major, which makes me very happy.
And the question I have to you about Tiger winning at Torrey Pines, and this will kind of maybe value this stat where he wins the major. Was there anybody? Now I didn't watch. I just heard that he won, or I didn't keep up with it. Was there anybody notable there other than him that played?
Oh yeah, Steve Stricker, Graham McDowell. I'm not sure Rory was there.
Rory was.
Phil Mickelson was there.
Phil Mickelson was there.
Vijay Singh.
Okay.
There was quite a few notables. It wasn't just a bunch of nobodies.
It looks like he might be on track to win another major. I mean, statistically, he should. Right. I think I'm still on the fence with this. I think he needs to play a tournament with Rory in it to be really. If he wins an event where Rory's in it, then I could say he has a chance to win a major. But I think.
Well, now they played against each other in Dubai a couple weeks ago, and he outplayed Rory.
Was it an exhibition though?
Yeah, also they both did horribly.
Yeah, they both did horrible. But he did outplay him.
Okay.
It wasn't an exhibition. It was you know how they all usually go overseas and play during the winter months.
Yeah.
It was the European tour.
Yeah, but for me. I think Tiger needs to play an event with Roy in it and then get challenged by him. And then, because there's been times where we've seen Tiger get in a major and he'll be playing well, and then the Sunday will come and he'll just fall apart.
And I'll even expand on that a little bit more. I think he needs to get into a tournament with him, Rory, and Bubba Watson. And I think that at that point in time, we'll be able to kind of see, because right now they are the top guys. I mean, I don't see many bigger names than that. Phil Mickelson's kind of falling off a little bit now. Lee Westwood is still he's still up there, but he's not as strong as he was. I think the big three right now are Bubba Watson, Rory McIlroy, and Tiger just on reputation. I think he's kind of like the Kentucky as a group, especially this year. He's like the Kentucky. Should he get into the NCAA tournament? Probably not, but will he? Yeah, because of his name.
Yeah.
And you know, and because it's good business.
Yeah.
And it's good business. It's good to have Tiger in the PGA tournament.
Yeah.
But
he's one of those athletes where it hurt me so bad to see all that stuff come out about him. And it's like right when that happened, that's when like the peak of his career, like it just went all downhill.
Yeah,
and I've been kind of secretly rooting for him to get back up on top because he was the juice, and he had all the juice in his day, you know. And I really enjoyed watching him play because he was just that good.
Yeah.
And you know, he is the only reason I watch golf. And you know, he's awesome, and I wish that he could get back on the tip top like that. But like you said, he will, you know, go far, maybe do something major, get into a major one just because of his name.
Right.
Which, I mean, he paid his dues, so I can't really complain that that's the reason why he gets
the man won a U.S. Open on one leg. He had a broken leg, and he won the U.S. Open on one leg.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
And here's the thing about Tiger too. Like, I've always thought that Tiger will never win another major again.
I definitely said that.
I don't think he will. I'm going to stick by it. I put this stat in here just to see where this goes.
Right. Well, let me expand on that a little bit.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that I heard somebody talking about this the other day. Last year, Tiger won, I think it was 4 events. He didn't win a single major, and Tiger himself said it was a so-so year. When we get back from break here, as Big B is going to be, we're headed to break here. I got a question I'd like to ask to each of you, and we'll answer that right after this.
Any questions?
Not bad, not bad.
Oh, it's gonna be like that, huh? Ah, someone wants to play.
Just trying to keep up with the old guy, you know?
Dude, is that your real hair?
Is that all you got? Go, go. I just can't miss today. Do you ever get days like that? Hey, Tiger, you looking? You looking?
If you want
I won't win it. How'd you do that?
You'll learn.
Oh, babe, check this out. Hey, come on. You want a little chippy? You want a Dorito? Are you hungry? I want to get a Dorito.
Babe, don't hurt my dog.
Come on, get a chip. Come on, get a chip. Get a chip. Come on. Here we go. Here we go.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. I am Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with Just Kendra down on the end, Big B, Brandon DeMiro, and my esteemed doctor, the one and only Dr. Gary Locker. His credentials are good. So before the break, I left everybody in a tease here. I wanted to ask you guys a question. Like I was saying before, just to kind of recap last year, I think Tiger won 4 events, not a single major. And he said it was kind of a so-so okay year. This year, with him already winning this early in the season, how many wins do you see Tiger getting, and do you see him winning a major?
Conservatively. It all depends on injuries and what he enters and what he doesn't enter. But in a perfect season for Tiger Woods this year, I'd say he wins about 7 events, and a major is not one of them. I will say that because there are enough there are enough TPCs out there for him to enter that people just won't be interested in.
Right.
And I think he's got a good shot to win in Tempe, Arizona. I really at the Waste Management TPC. I think he's got a great shot to maybe kind of go far at Augusta, because we've seen Tiger have success at the Masters recently. Has he won the Masters recently? No. But he has still had good rounds at the Masters. It's just because people know how to play Augusta.
By less than 3 strokes last year.
Yeah, if you play Augusta enough, you can learn the course. You really can. You know, they try to do it differently every year, but the outline structure is still there. I think that if we are going to see Tiger win a major, it will be the Masters, just because of repetition.
Well, I think the U.S. Open's at his favorite course this year too. So
the thing about the U.S. Open though is the U.S. Open, what they do is that course won't even be a shadow of itself.
Well, no,
because the U.S. Open, they go in there and they do these courses 2 years ahead of time. So they've been working on that course for the last 2 years.
Right.
So I think what you're going to see is that course is going to be completely different. It really is. And Tiger's best shot to win a championship this year, a major, will be the Masters. And I think it's going to be exciting to see where this goes.
Kendra?
I mean, I think that maybe 5 or 6 wins, and I think that he's going to get to the Masters. I think he's going to win. I'm thinking of it as kind of like, when Jordan came back and just played or whatever. I know they didn't win. The Wizards didn't do that great with him being back.
Right.
But I think that, he's kind of back. You know what I mean? Like, this is his, I'm back type year, and I think that if he goes to the Masters, he's definitely going to win.
I have the same number as you. I have 6. A major, I say no still. Again, I'm kind of with you. I'd like to see him win, obviously, because let's face it, he's Tiger Woods. He's the most popular golfer in the history of the world. But I have to just be on the side where hopefully he proves me wrong. Like I said, I don't see it, because there's been times where I thought he was going to win the major and then just he falls apart. So I'm just going to stick with that right now. I say he wins 6 events, but major, I don't see it.
I think I would love to see plenty Sundays with red shirts on. That always is a good scene. I know, when he's got his red Nike shirt on and his game face, it's always fun to watch. I think 6, 7, 8 wins could be very easily attainable, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if he splits the majors and maybe wins 2 this year.
Wow. That's bold.
I mean,
How do you call a bold prediction?
I mean, it's a bold prediction, but I'm throwing it out there right now. I'm going to say Tiger Woods wins 2 of the 4
Someone's going to be bold on the show, and it might as well be.
And if it happens, you guys will be like, hey, and if it doesn't, I'll be like, well,
go down the limb.
Besides the Masters, what's the other one you think he might win?
The U.S. Open.
I think so. I'm telling you, the course is not.
I know that, but he always seems to struggle at the British Open.
Okay, yes, he does.
Remember, it's a bold prediction.
But
it is a
that's
bold
also,
prediction.
and here's the reason that he struggles at the British Open. When you look at Tiger's stats, okay, he is last, or near last at least, in one key stat: driving the ball. His direction and his power lack those of most other esteemed people on the league. You factor that to the wins that he always encounters at the British Open.
Right.
He over the course of history, even when he has won the British Open, he has done not as well as his other performances, because it's a combination of wind and it's a combination of all these other factors. You get to the British Isles, anything can happen. It's like playing in Seattle. Anything can happen.
And I'll say this too. It may not be necessarily the Masters. It could be the PGA Championship.
If I had to, if you were to sit me down and ask me which 2 majors would Tiger win this year, I would say the Masters and the PGA Championship. That's what I'm.
All right. So good golf discussion there. I know we don't talk about that a whole lot, but it's good to get a little golfing.
Now we're going to something we talk about a whole lot.
The top 25 in basketball this week took a beating. And I'm not saying this to rile any feathers. It's the truth. Nobody else took a bad of a beating as the University of Louisville.
Tell me something I don't know.
3 losses in a row. UVA has a 3-loss streak and goes down to 12 from 5 to 12, which is, I was expecting a little bit more of a jump. I was expecting them to go to 15th or 16th, but so due to the top 25 having a rough outing, you had Arizona going down to UCLA. You had at home, nonetheless, at Tempe. All right. You had Creighton going down. Duke, VCU also went down this week. And last night, NC State went down. All right? Old Miss went down as well.
Yeah.
Also going down was Old Miss, number 16 ranked Old Miss to the University of Kentucky, giving UNK their first top 25 win.
Right.
And to top that, it was on the road.
Let me say this about that real quick. It was not an upset.
No.
People,
It was not an
like
upset.
I seen an article that said Southern State shocker or whatever, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
The Ole Miss was only favored by like 2.5.
Yeah.
And they can never beat Kentucky. Never. Never.
Can't do it. No.
I mean, you had Eli Manning and Shepard Smith there, and it still didn't matter. But I thought that was ridiculous. I think whenever Kentucky beats anybody, it's not an upset.
No. Right.
No.
Never.
I was watching that game when I was on the elliptical last night in the gym, and I was just, I was entertained, but like I wasn't shocked. Like you said, they might not have a winning record right now, but they are well coached.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just the history of it. Like it wasn't an upset. It's like
I
expected them to win.
totally.
The numbers rankings mean nothing to me because when it all
Absolutely.
boils down, you have
Smart.
teams like George Mason who make it to the Final Four and stuff like that. So rankings mean
Yeah,
nothing.
Miami
It's like
beat Duke
whatever.
by 30 something.
She's gonna reach across the table.
That's why you want to sit over
I'm
there.
not gonna do a thing to stop it. I just want to let you know
Now
that.
you know you enjoyed that shot.
It was funny.
Don't lie.
No.
You enjoyed it.
I did. It was good because it was an anti-Duke
You loved
statement.
that shot.
It was not better than
Hatred
later
towards
shot.
Duke is why.
What's that?
It wasn't better than the.
I'm sitting here trying to defend you. Come on.
Pick me. You don't play referee over there.
Duke is the reason I'm a University of North Carolina fan on the side.
Whoa! Which, by the way, North Carolina, Kentucky signed a 2-year deal to play college basketball.
Home and home.
Home and home. So, which they actually just finished one like a year or two ago. So they're resuming
Jimmy,
that.
we're gonna be enemies in about a year and a half.
Oh,
yeah. That's
You
right.
better know I'm coming back.
Come on down. We're ready for you.
When that happens, I'm sorry. I'm siding with U of L. I've got a U of L shirt. I was on U of L's side last night or 2 nights ago when they played Pitt.
Barely won that game.
They won that game barely.
Stop giving the ball to
Let me
Stephen.
say, I know I wasn't here last week, so let me just say this about Louisville's 3-game losing streak.
They lost to nobody.
No, I mean they lost to
They lost to one nobody.
They lost to one nobody, but 2 of them, Syracuse and Villanova. Villanova come back and beat Syracuse, so that loss didn't look as bad as it was. Syracuse, they threw the game away in the last 4 minutes.
Yeah.
They should have won.
And they almost threw away the Pitt game.
Yeah, Villanova, they've quit playing as a team. It's like they got the number 1 and they got the big head and they just the balloon popped or whatever. It was
I brought this up last week. I said, why do they give Peyton Stevens the ball when he doesn't have a point all game?
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I was screaming at the
He
television.
has the
I'm
ball
like,
with
really?
he has the ball 10 seconds left. He's ready to take the last shot. He didn't score a point all game, so why is he at the last shot?
Why is he?
You have to know when to deviate from the offense. If somebody's on, you feed them. I don't care what the play says.
I realized he was even open. He was open, but still don't take the shot.
Yeah.
He hasn't scored the whole game.
The fact of the matter is, when it comes to the University of Louisville, there is a lot going on right now on the side, too.
Absolutely.
Dealing with whether or not Russ Smith should be coming in off the bench because he's taking that personally. I think he should be a starter.
He's not taking it personally.
No, he's not. The people close to the University of Louisville have said
he come out and said he's not.
Well, we can ask him
Of course
ourselves.
he's gonna say that.
We can ask him ourselves.
And yeah, we can eventually ask him ourselves. He's gonna say that though. It doesn't matter how you ask it. It's just like when you have any kind of drama in the locker room, they know not to air that out. You don't air your dirty laundry out. So I can't believe him if he says that. I really can't. I'm going to have to throw that argument wide out. Because you can tell with the way he acts and the way he plays that he is bothered by this. You can look at his stats and tell that he's bothered by this. His stats have gone from up here, and then all of a sudden he started having some troubles, and then right down there. It's a fact.
A lot of that is his own doing, though.
A lot of it is his own doing because he's taking it to heart. You have to look at that.
But he's taking stupid shots.
Now, am I saying any of this to down Russ Smith? Absolutely not. I like the kid. I wanted to have him at
But if you
Kentucky.
look at the tape, if you look at the games, it's like What are you doing? Quit driving 1 on 4.
He
Cut the
does
silly
that.
stuff out. Quit it.
He's trying to prove something.
I realize it.
Rick Pitino,
Stop it.
Which is proving my point. He is taking this personally.
Can I tell you? I want to tell you the best example of Chris Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Coach P used to do that to him a lot. Chris would come off the bench. Chris didn't always start. Chris is a good player. Chris Smith,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so he, you know what I mean? Like, Chris would come off the bench many a times, and I mean, I know Chris, and you know, a lot of our friends, like, we hang together, and it's like, he just, you know, just took it as, like, how it was or whatever. I just feel like, as a player, like, at the beginning of the season, you go in with the goal of winning a national championship. So sometimes, if you're not the best person for that position at the time, then you sit back and you let Coach P, who they pay a lot of money to, come in and coach you guys. He knows what he's doing. If you're not the puzzle piece that fits at the time, then you fall back until it's time for your piece to go in. Mm-hmm. And you have to put those personal feelings aside, because the goal is not about you. It's not about you making it to the league. It's about winning a national championship. Right. And I feel like if you're so hungry for that, like, you lose, you shouldn't even think about self. Like, it should just be, what can I do? If that means I have to sit on the bench until the third quarter, if that's my role for us to win this championship, then by God, I'll sit on the bench so that we can get a national championship. And you have to be that selfless. If you're not selfless like that, then it's just, you know, I know it might be hard for him because, you know, he is a good player, but you just gotta suck stuff like that up. If you wanna make it, if you want your team to succeed, and if that's what he needs you to do at the time, then that's what you need to do.
And I completely agree. I think that what Russ Smith needs to do is he needs to take these personal feelings and just put them aside, because Coach Pitino knows a lot more about basketball than most people have forgot. I mean, most people will never forget. I mean, he's that good. When you look at some of the greats in coaching, you look at Pat Summitt, you look at Rick Pitino, you look at Bob Knight, you look at Coach Cal, you look at Tom Izzo, who I think is the best coach in the NCAA right now. And then and then there's some outstanding young coaches too that know a lot, like Bradley Stevens, Shaka Smart, Tom Crean. You know, they know a lot about basketball. And as a player, it is your job to take in that knowledge and cast your personal feelings aside. Russ Smith is taking this personally. He can say he's not till he's blue in the face. It doesn't make it true.
Maybe he's just mad because he has a horse named after him.
Yeah, that might be what it is.
Hey, that's famous. If I get a Derby horse named after me, I'll be happy.
I mean, I do find that quite funny. There's a horse named after him.
All right, so moving on to the next headline here, we have Lance Armstrong, who apparently lied to Oprah.
Yeah,
big surprise. He's lied to everybody else.
This broke. I actually saw it on Facebook via Anderson Cooper's show. He said that according to the U.S. doping agency, Lance Armstrong actually lied to some of the things he said to Oprah. I don't really know all the severity of what he lied about. It was actually stored on 60 Minutes the night of the pay-per-view, so I didn't get a chance to check it out. But and now the U.S. doping agency wants him to come out and speak publicly about this and tell the truth for a change. They want him to, Lance, tell the truth. It's just like, whatever this guy says, you can't believe him anymore. You can't believe him.
I think he lied about doping. Like I said, I've said that. I think he did lie about doping. He's got.
Maybe
he sued people. He filed defamation suits against people. That's one of the hardest lawsuits. Lawyers don't even like to take defamation cases, and they cost a lot of money.
Because they're hard,
right? And he actually filed defamation cases. So it's like, just if he did it, he should just come out. If he didn't do it, then he should maintain his innocence.
We'll finish this talk up right after the break. Stay tuned. Triple Threat Talk.
Hey Cam, thanks a lot for coming to school today.
No problem, Nate.
I promise to exercise and eat right.
Don't forget 60 minutes of play a day, right?
And I'll grow up to be big and strong like you.
Absolutely.
And play in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
And be drafted #1.
Maybe.
Become the starting quarterback of the Panthers.
Okay.
You can be my backup.
Excuse me?
And make Panthers fans forget about you. What? And become your mom's favorite player.
Whoa.
I'm just loosening my arm.
Oh, hi, Tom.
Hey.
My little boy loves playing football.
It's a great game.
But what is the NFL doing to make the game safer?
We're doing a lot. Carl?
Well, Tom, we're developing new rules to better protect our players.
And over the next decade with the NFL Players Union, they're dedicating more than $100 million for medical research.
Wow.
As well as supporting the development of better and safer equipment.
And I feel a lot better about him playing.
Love to meet the little guy.
Ray, meet Tom.
Cute kid.
And welcome back to Triple Threat Talk. I'm Gary the Doctor Lockard. Next to Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Bingers, Big B, Brandon DeMuro, and just Kendra. You can continue your thought on Lance Armstrong. We had to cut off to the. We had to cut it off.
I just feel like, you know, he's filed lawsuits, and I think he's been successful. My professor was talking about it today, and I just feel like, you know, if you were doping, people make mistakes. Although, I mean, if he did it purposely. It's like, okay, nobody loves you less. He's an awesome guy. You know what I mean? Like, very world-renowned. But it's like, don't let Oprah pressure you into admitting that you were doping, or don't let her pressure you into saying that you weren't. Just tell us the truth. Like, you know what I mean? He's been through it all. And I don't know if his career will recover from this. So it's like, just come on and tell us. I'm tired of defending him. I love him because, you know, he battled cancer. He fought it hard. He's a strong guy. But it's like, now I'm questioning his character, his integrity, and you know, that's really all a man has is his reputation. So, you know, he's kind of killing me. And I know people who are racing fans and bike racing fans, and they bike a lot. They're really, you know, concerned about this. I mean, I'm concerned, but I mean, I'm not really I haven't rode a bike since I was like 10, so it's like whatever. But I just want to know the truth, and I want him to come out and be very honest, because, you know, I respect him, and I don't want to lose all the respect I have for him either.
What I want to hear in 10 years is him come out and say that he admitted this for a reason. I know it's not going to be... I want him to say that I admitted something I didn't do because I have love for everything so much. What I can't get past is the 200 pass drug test. I can't get past it. That's taken straight from him. I can't get past that.
He's not doping, so
you can take stuff to pass a drug test. It's easy. They make a lot of stuff.
Can't they find out what he took? Because don't some tests have like...
It would show.
No.
It would. It would show.
Not everything.
If you had
they do make certain things that you can pass a drug test and it wouldn't show up that you cleaned it. You know, trust me, look it up. I know you're in the pharmacy profession.
I've never heard of anything like that.
But look it up. There is stuff you can take that you can, because I was talking about this with somebody the other day, and we looked it up, and I forget the name of it, but there is something you can take that you will piss clean, as they say, and there's no trace of showing that you covered it.
I don't think it's in cycling it's blood. It's straight from the blood. I mean, they take like they pull.
Either way,
they pull
I just know.
There's nothing you can
look
clean
into
about
it.
the blood.
And we'll get some more information.
Then obviously it was coming out that he lied to her. It's like what was truth and what was not. You know what I mean? So.
And speaking of what is truth and what is not, a conclusion
finally
onto the Manti Te'o story that we have been following vigorously here.
So finally, this story has come to an end. Finally, someone found Renaya Tuiasosopo. It was Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil actually sat down with him. They did an interview.
He's not even a real doctor. Takes one to know one.
Oh, by the way, I'm glad to see that you all had his girlfriend on the show last week.
Yeah. Nice.
She was standing right behind me.
Yeah, she was lurking somewhere. Anyway.
Nice girl.
Yeah, very quiet. Very quiet. I don't know what to say. Anyway, you know, this whole story is taking a lot of twists and turns, and you know, obviously affecting a young man's life, and Manti Te'o and his future as an NFL player. Obviously, coming out, he had really nothing to do. I mean, he had something to do with it, but not as much as we thought in the beginning. So, I know this interview hasn't aired yet. I think it's either airing Thursday or they taped it. I know it's the information that what happened came out anyway. Tuiasosopo admitted that he is a gay man.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right, well, of course not. And then he said he had feelings for Manti Te'o. He actually fell in love with him, is what he told Dr. Phil. So the story obviously takes a kind of weird, like people using that term, a kind of catfish type thing where, you know, he was talking to somebody. Look it up. He was talking to somebody he thought was one.
I know what it is. I don't need to tell you to look it up.
Okay.
I looked it up. I watched it.
I'm glad. But it's a weird thing with this guy that Tuiasosopo. He made up a fake profile, and he did all these things to Manti Te'o. Manti Te'o thought it was believable and real, and then obviously all the things where the girlfriend died and stuff like that. And it's a very bizarre story. Very bizarre that takes just not the sport of college football, but everything as a whole, news. It's a very weird.
Did he like disguise his voice for 2 years? Did he go from like, hey, how you doing, to like, hey?
Well, he used something.
Like, hi, Manti, how you doing?
Like, hi.
Yeah. Hi, Manti, how you doing? It's Lena Cocoa.
Alright, so now I know not to answer the phone if you talk like that. So, you know, it's.
Why you answer that way when Cody calls?
Oh! I set it up and he spiked it down. So. There was no way I could have avoided that. It was a slob in the end. I just smacked it right down.
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry, I couldn't.
But yeah, like I said, you know, obviously the story is very bizarre. Everything that's come out about it, from, you know, the dead girlfriend and all this, it's just very weird.
Hopefully this young man learned his lesson and he'll do a little bit more investigation.
Yeah, better judgment.
And not fall for. He just should meet people in person and just use his brain. I know he's smart. Like, you can't be a complete idiot and play football and be good at it.
Right. You go to Notre Dame.
Should use better judgment next time.
You know what I don't get? The man is an all-American linebacker.
Really?
First round draft. First round draft pick in the NFL. He should have the pick of the freaking litter, for God's sakes.
Really.
Yeah.
There should be women lined up knocking on his door.
Yeah, really.
I mean, come on.
To go out searching for someone online is kind of a bizarre thing to begin with.
But to that point though, it's like I was listening to Mark Schlereth and Mike Hill a little while ago, and they were talking that Mark Schlereth was saying that he knew some guys that were, you know, very good looking, and they were very good at their, you know, football position, their profession, but they were very backward and very, you know, not very self-forward about themselves when it come to women.
Some guys are terrified of women. Look at the Big Bang Theory, Rod. That's based on a real thing, pathological shyness. I mean, that's a real thing.
And sometimes, like,
Big B.
Sometimes it doesn't matter. Like, sometimes women are just like, oh my God, what's your job? Like, yeah, you can call me, but then certain people like myself, I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. You play football. Nice to meet you. Type. You know what I mean? And some people are socially awkward, and then you got to think about these guys. They have these great careers. They have a lot of money. Some of them anyway, and it makes you awkward towards some people because you just don't know what you're getting. You know what I mean? But I agree. He's probably just socially awkward.
Yeah, and it happens. I mean, it does happen,
and it's perfectly okay. But I mean,
you know.
Be careful next time, Anti.
Please.
Be careful.
All right. And that brings us to the topic du jour. The topic of the week. The topic of the century. The Super Bowl. Super Sunday. Few days away.
Is there a game this week?
The Baltimore.
Bowling on?
Bowling.
Bowling is on. Yes, bowling is on.
The Baltimore Ravens.
It's not a bowling name.
Go to the Superdome in New Orleans.
They don't go. They already been.
They're playing the Saints?
New Orleans to play the San Francisco 49ers.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't next week Mardi Gras Fat Tuesday?
I thought so.
I believe so. It's the first week. It's always the first week
in February.
Is it not going to be like? I don't think that place was going to be a zoo.
It's always a zoo.
I'll say this.
I so wish I could go.
I went to Mardi Gras one year, and I was 16, and I seen stuff I never should have been seeing.
Yeah, you definitely should.
I'm not let you go. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm every corner I took, I'm like, really? Really?
Naked?
Really?
What's going on in this?
But it was very fun, and with adding the
I bet it was very fun.
with adding the Super Bowl to that kind of party, you already have the largest party in the United States in my mind with the Mardi Gras, and now you're adding the biggest game of the year.
Biggest sporting event, yeah.
That place is going to be wall to wall madhouse. Absolute. They don't have enough police people out there.
I know. Find out.
So the line opens up from Vegas.
3.5.
3.5 point favorites are the 49ers. What do you guys do? Let's talk. Let's break down the game a little bit, and then we'll put in our Super Bowl picks.
Are we betting here?
No betting. No betting.
Well, no, not like that. I mean,
this guy's coming home with me this season. We already know that. This is mine. So, I mean, there's no betting, nothing. What do you guys look for? Me, I think a big key to the game is 2 weeks ago, the Atlanta. I'll have to admit it. I'll be the first to admit it. The Atlanta offense shredded the San Francisco defense for pretty much the first half.
Atlanta's got problems.
Okay. Then the 49ers defense was able to buckle down a little bit. They were able to buckle down and allow the offense to score 21 straight. My problem is this. You have three very, very, very talented receivers. You have Torrey Smith, you have Anquan Bolden, and you have Dennis Petta. And of course, Dennis Petta is the tight end.
Don't forget about
but
Jacoby
he's still
Jones.
a very he's mainly for special teams.
He caught that deep pass.
Forget about Ray Rice.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say, not to mention, they have an extremely talented running back in Ray Rice. So here's got to be my key to the game. Anquan Bolden is a big physical force. The Ravens showed New England that they were going to be willing to take a penalty here or there and get physical with them to throw off the tie in. It is the San Francisco 49ers' job to do that now because Joe Flacco can be rattled. We've seen Joe Flacco be rattled. They have got to cause missteps on that defense, and if you've got to take a 5 or a 10-yard penalty every now and then to do it, you've got to. You've got to create some mismatches, and you've got to get in there, and you've got to play physical with somebody as physical as Anquan Bolden. Torrey Smith's a pretty straight-up guy. Dennis Petta can get a little bit nasty sometimes. You've got to show Bolden and Petta that you're not going to take it, and you are going to play with them. That is, to me, San Francisco's point of attack. The Ravens, what they have to do to win is they have to protect Joe Flacco. Because if Justin Smith and Aldon Smith get in there and get a hold of him a couple times, Joe Flacco is one of the smaller quarterbacks in the league. He's going to be walking out of New Orleans with an injury. Those are my keys to the game.
Yeah, I mean, you covered it.
I mean, yeah, you pretty much covered all bases here. I mean, you make some good points. I think it's going to be a very close game. I don't think either team is going to blow it out. I don't think either team. I think the margin of victory is going to be less than 10 for either team. I think it's going to be a trench war. It'll be trench warfare.
Physical game.
It's going to be physical. It's going to be smash mouth. There's going to be a lot of guys blooded, battered, and bruised by the time this game's over.
I see a lot of penalties.
This is going to be one for the classic NFL film special. I mean, this is going to be. I think this is going to be
a showdown.
A showdown. It's going to be 70s style football. You're going to see a lot of smash mouth running the football. Lots of defense. You're going to see a lot of your field goal kickers and punters, I think. Because I don't think the Ravens are going to allow Colin Kaepernick to go crazy, and I know the 49ers aren't going to allow Joe Flacco to play like Joe Montana the way he's been the last couple of weeks. And I think it's going to come down to whoever makes the best, the biggest play in the end, and it may come down to who had the ball last.
Right.
I mean, that's how close of a game. If I had to pick right now, I would lean towards the 49ers. By a field goal, and that's where I would go, I think.
Yeah, you brought up good points. And you brought up a point I was going to make is about the kicking situation because they signed Billy Cundiff to kind of compete with David Akers, and they eventually stuck with David Akers. He hasn't been that good this season, so I'm concerned for his team in the sense of if it comes down to a crucial field goal and they put him in, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to make that kick. And this year he hasn't really done it.
I think he does it.
He hasn't really done that. So
I think he'll get it together for the Super Bowl.
You hope so. You hope so. I don't think he will.
He's been real close from winning the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah,
with the Eagles for years.
I know, but I'm just like this is his worst season he ever had.
And one of the other big things that he has is he's had 2 off weeks over the course of the last couple weeks to kind of recover from his injuries, and I think he'll be doing that.
What do you think, Big B? Who wins?
I like Baltimore. I like Baltimore by a field goal. I think it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be close. I like seeing close game Super Bowls. That way it makes it more enjoyable to watch. But I like Baltimore by a field goal.
Right.
Kendra?
I think that, everything you guys said, like as far as the plays and everything going on, that's true. It's going to be a hard, physical, rough game. I think that both teams have legacies that they need to uphold. The 49ers never losing a Super Bowl appearance. The Ravens want to go out on top. Ray Lewis wanting to end his career with a win with the Super Bowl ring. I feel that it's going to come down to like you said, whoever has possession at the end of the game. whoever, they have to bring it, like sweat, blood, tears, leave it all out on the field. It's a pride thing, I think, and they both have legacies that they need to uphold, and it's going to be a war, full blown out war. So I'm ready, and I'll take Baltimore.
Take Baltimore,
I feel
and we'll finish it up talking about the Super Bowl right after this.
Fast forward, rewind. Fast forward, rewind. That's called a juke. I know your eyes are closed, but really you should look at this. Fast forward, rewind. Right there. Wait, let me slow it down. Ooh, I missed the tackle. Here, it almost looks better from back here. That is convincing. I mean, you're crying.
Madden NFL 13, rated E for everyone. A new look, a new feel, a new way to Madden forever. EA Sports, it's in the game.
And we are back here on Triple Threat Talk. Kendra had just said that she was picking Baltimore, and I was reminded during the break that I did not choose my team. Obviously, I'm going to choose the 49ers. This is a Steelers fan worst matchup. It really is, because on the one hand, Steelers fans have to deal with the Ravens, and on the other hand,
I can tell you, since I live in a house full of Steelers fans, that they're pulling for the Ravens.
They're
pulling for the Ravens.
Stephanie's not.
For the same reason that
Stephanie's pulling for the Niners.
Well, yeah, but everybody else is pulling for the Ravens. Because they want to keep in the AFC.
Yeah. Well, it's not only that. Here's the other conclusion. Here's the other thing. If the 49ers win,
they tie the Steelers.
They'll tie the Steelers for the most, and they will have done it perfectly. 6-0, and that is nothing to be trifled with on the biggest stage in professional football. So that wraps up headline stories in football for the week. It is now time to answer those two questions that we had at the beginning of the week.
Well, we'll get to
well, yeah, we got OVW. Thank you. Yeah, we got OVW.
Big B, OVW.
Again, we haven't been going recently. We plan on going in the near future. Just have some things to take care of to do that. Obviously, you go to the Brian Cannon blog, ovmania.blogspot.com to check out all his stuff about OVW. Obviously, this weekend is their Saturday Night Special, their big, huge extravaganza show. Obviously, it's always very good. The crowd.
It's a rematch.
Well, I was going to say, the crowd's usually very good there. That's where they draw their most.
I don't know how good of a
That's where they draw their most. They always put on a good show there. So, obviously, if you're in the area, I think it's $12 or $10 in advance if you contact someone from OVW to get tickets. It's a good show. They put on a heck of a show on Saturday night. Obviously, before Super Bowl on Sunday, get a good show on Saturday, too. So check out OVW.
I will tell you one thing. If you watch OVW, just periodically, you want to check it out this week. Something major happens this week. You want to check it out, and you want to see what it is, because it affects the course of the Saturday Night Special. I will say that. I don't want to ruin it, because I'm not sure when the show will be up and when that one will be up, but you do want to check it out this week.
Okay. So I think that does it for OVW. So if you want to check out OVW, go to OVWWrestling.com to check out all the stuff about them. Obviously, you can watch them on blip.tv. They also upload their shows there. And obviously, you can watch them on Saturdays on channel WKY at 1 o'clock and 9 o'clock, channel 138. So now we get to the point where PostMaster and Doctor are kind of on the fence about some situation that happened at the Royal Rumble. So we shall go to them.
So, what was the question that was asked?
Against all odds, ask, what are your thoughts on the rumored Mania card? Punk versus Taker, Cena versus Rock 2, Brock versus Triple H 2. And Big Corn 16 asks, do you guys think it will be Cena Rock 2 at Mania or a triple threat adding Punk? Or will WWE give the title back to Punk before Mania?
Michael Rickard and I, our friend Michael Rickard and I, at the conclusion of the Royal Rumble, had a huge problem with how this ended up, because obviously now it's going to be Cena and Rock. I understand that this is a business, because that's what we started out talking about. We started talking about business decisions and where the WWE would go. I get that. You want to put butts in the seats. It's kind of why they hired A-Rod in New York, because you know what? With A-Rod, they were able to sell out those Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night games. 5,500 seats, butts in the seats, just because they signed A-Rod. I get it. But when you advertise an event to be once in a lifetime, and then the very next year, if you do it in 3 or 4 years, that's great. But the very next year, you turn around and you slap people in the face because, you went to that event on the promise it was going to be
That's not why I went.
But that doesn't decide that was part. Whether you want to admit it, that was a factor. I'm going to see Cena versus Rock if I go to WrestleMania. That was a factor. I'm going to see The Rock.
It was a factor. I got to see The Rock. It wasn't just because it was once in a lifetime, but it was the Rock was coming back.
How many times did we hear it? How many times did they advertise last year?
All the time.
Once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime. And then they do this and slap every single one of us in the face.
Mm-hmm.
This is a slap in the face. I get that it's a business. I get that. But I tell you what, if I'm going to WrestleMania this year, I want to see a match I haven't seen before because it sounds like there's going to be two of them that people have seen before. And that's not right. I want to see Rock and Cena, and I don't want to see frickin' Brock and Triple H again. I'd much rather see Brock and Undertaker and Punk and Triple H.
You know, in terms of that situation, you know, Michaels and Taker wrestled twice in a row, and so did Triple H and Taker, but they didn't advertise it as once in a lifetime, which is, I can see where your point's coming from. You know, they were just really good matches, Taker and Triple H, and Shawn Michaels and Triple H, the last 4 WrestleManias. It's just, you know, it's good for business. Like I think you're going to say, it's good for business to have the high-profile guys face high-profile guys. But I'm on the fence with you. Like it's a business. It's going to make the money, which is what they're all about. But I'm also on the fence with you. If you're going to advertise it once in a lifetime, then don't do it again. But I just, you know, it doesn't seem like they really care about that at this point.
They don't.
So.
It's not about. It's not. It does say once in a lifetime, but that doesn't matter. You might as well just throw that out the window, because if you look at it from a different point of this, it was once in a lifetime. That was a true statement because there was nothing up for grabs here. It was just a match. It was just pitting the Attitude Era
versus the current
era. Right. It was just the match. Plus, you also got to take into consideration 90% sure the match is going to happen, but we're not for sure it's going to happen yet.
No,
we're jumping ahead. We're about 90% sure it's going to happen.
Hopefully, they do wake up.
Big B and I said on this show on July 25th, 2012, and we both said, and I quote, John Cena wins the Royal Rumble, The Rock wins the title at Royal Rumble, and they face off for the second time. We told you almost a year ago what was going to happen. Yeah. And everybody's like, oh no, WWE would never do that. WWE.
How long have you been watching?
I've been watching for 25 years. I think I would know by now what WWE. Yeah. And the fact that, and I'm not picking on you, Michael, because you weren't the only one, and I know you weren't happy either, so I'm not picking on you, but this goes as a whole. If you're going to sit there and, you know, whine on Facebook or, you know, say, I'm never watching again, that's it, I'm done, I'm never going to do this, you weren't a real fan to begin with, in my opinion. If you let something that happened one night affect you that bad, then we don't need you as a wrestling fan, okay? You may not like it because, like I said in my Facebook post, and you liked it, it's like a television drama. For instance, Justified. We'll just use that as an example. Me and you're Justified, fans of Justified, so we'll use it as an example.
Some got bit by a snake.
Sometimes they do stuff that we don't like. Sometimes they do stuff we do like. But when they do the stuff we don't like, do we stop watching it? No. So the people that go off on this tangent of, well, I'm never watching it again. That's it. I'm done. WWE needs to do this. WWE. I get tired of hearing it. I don't want to hear it. I watch it for the pure thing of entertainment and enjoyment. I get enjoyment out of knowing that, you know, even though I may know what's going to happen, there's still that chance that something else might happen that didn't happen. Like you said numerous of times, even though we know The Undertaker's going to win at WrestleMania, when you watch the match, there's points you really think, my God, he may not win. Holy crap, right. You know. And it's the whole idea of, yeah, we were right, but I personally enjoy when we call stuff like, when we sit on this show and we say, in a year, this is what's going to happen, and it occurs, I like that. Yeah. As a fan, I'm like, wow, I got this right. That's great. You know.
See, it's good for the show. It's good for us. It really is. And kudos to both of you for doing it. And I didn't put on there I was never going to watch it. I know Michael did. Yeah. But
I wouldn't say that.
No. You said as a whole, and you're right. But the point that I think the most people are trying to make with this situation is, you know, we know what happens in wrestling. We get it. You know, we get it. You know, it is what it is. I'll say that because
Just leave it at that.
Leave it at that. It is what it is. We understand. We know what it is. But also, you can't slap your fans in the face. You really can't. And I really hope that the WWE takes a step back and look at, because it was 50-50, straight down the line. 50% people liked it, 50% people hated it. I think they really need to take a step back and say, is this really worth losing 50% of a possible fan base that we've been building for 75 years? Yep. Because they may not, to your point, they may not watch again, or they may watch again, but the people that liked it would probably like something else a little bit better too.
Yeah, and you know, I think it was, looking back on, obviously they booked the Rumble in the co-main event spot, not the main event like they usually do. I think they did it for a reason. I think they did it because if you put the Rumble at the end and you have the main event go, you have the Punk Rock match first. If the Rock wins, you damn well know who's winning the Royal Rumble before it even happens. You
knew who was going to win it anyway.
Well, no, but you don't, because
we pretty much had it.
What I'm saying, if they do the Rumble second and the Rock wins, you're going that thing. You have absolutely 100%, and you know who's going to win that match. It's going to be John Cena. You know for a fact. There's no point in watching it. But with the Rumble going second or going first, I mean, I think it was smarter because say John Cena doesn't win, then you have no idea what's going on.
The crowd's dead.
Well, the crowd was exhausted.
The crowd was wore out. I mean, Jericho comes back, was a total surprise to everybody. Yeah. But to get back to your analogy, if that's the case, you know, like you said, it's 50-50 split. 50 people liked it, 50 people didn't. Okay, so people are quit watching it. I compare it to the presidential election when people that voted for the other guy that didn't win. Well, I'm moving to Canada. Well, move your sorry ass to Canada, okay? You know, so what? It's called freedom of speech.
Yeah,
we have a right to vote. I hate people that got on there. Well, I'm moving to
Canada has socialized medicine as well. You're not going to get much better.
And people kept saying that on Facebook, and I agree with you. We're getting off topic here about political stuff, but people kept saying,
I'm comparing.
No, but I'm saying people are saying I'm moving to Canada. It's like, hey, move to Canada.
Yeah, move to Canada for it. Just like I'm not house wrestling anymore. Okay,
they have a worse system than what this is going to be.
But I hate to tell you, it's not like I told you. It's about money. It's about ratings, and it's about what sells. Okay, we've watched it go from the '80s when wrestling was bad. Mm-hmm. Bad. I mean, it wasn't nowhere near the show.
Yeah, brother.
I mean,
Hulk Hogan.
You had Hulk Hogan and a bunch of Harrys, for the most part.
Well, you had the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the era
before that.
Yeah. And then, you know, the 90s came along, boom, wrestling started evolving. Yeah. Late 90s, early 2000s, wrestling just woof.
And then, I think even you said you watched a little bit in that era. That's when it was cool to watch wrestling.
McMahon.
Yes.
Like, I loved all that.
When it was cool to watch wrestling in the 90s.
I mean, it but we have to remember the rating of the show. Mm-hmm. So, WWE caters to the younger crowd.
Of course.
Because that's what makes the money.
Look at the things they do now.
They still do enough to pull us in.
Right, yeah.
And keep us interested.
I think it's in terms of, I don't think they do enough to pull us in. I think it's we watch for such a long time, we just want to see what happens. Because they do some things sometimes I'm like...
They do.
Like with...
They do.
Yeah, so.
But I just think as a whole, if you sit there and you say, to kind of close the argument on my perspective, if you sit there and say, well, I'll never watch again all because of something that happened on one night that you didn't agree with, then to me, you weren't really truly a wrestling fan to begin with.
There's been things happened in the past where you could say that.
If you're just going to up and quit watching all because of something that happens at one pay-per-view. That's just my personal thing.
I agree. Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty much done with it's one of those things that people aren't going to be happy about. They're not going to be happy about it, but I'm not happy about it, but I'm not going to quit watching. You know, something might happen to be worth checking out at WrestleMania. It won't be the main event, but it'll be something will happen there.
So it's exciting.
So since we basically covered the Royal Rumble, the stuff that mattered anyway, other than Alberto Del Rio retaining, which we all kind of figured that would happen. Then didn't see him losing. Which some news did come out. The reason Big Show lost the title in the first place was because apparently Big Show's contract was up, or was fixing to be up, so they had to drop it. And before they re-signed, they had already made the decision and changed the belt to Del Rio to keep it around the Big Show's race. So moving on to Raw, and we will get into Monday Night Raw. We will wrap up the show right after this.
Hey, Nick Dinsmore here. Do you have the dream of becoming a pro wrestler? Well, I did, and I came to Ohio Valley Wrestling. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. I'm a former WWE superstar, I'm a former 9-time Ohio Valley Wrestling heavyweight champion, and I can train you to be the best today. For all the information regarding the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class, go to ovwrestling.com and click on school. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. ovwrestling.com, click on school.
Welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, alongside just Kendra, Big B, Brandon DeMiro, and my esteemed doctor, the one and only Dr. Dinosaur, Gary Lockwood.
He's petting his top dinosaur.
So, speaking of Raw...
Alright, stop that.
Let's get into Raw a little bit here.
Good one.
Big B, apparently Big B had a bit of a delusional, or he was drinking some weird Kool-Aid on Monday, because he actually thought...
I told you I was joking.
He actually thought...
Did you really think it was real?
What? Oh, wait a minute. We're not even talking... Wait, let me finish. What are you talking about?
All right, go ahead.
I was going to say Big B actually thought Cody Rhodes was going to beat John Cena.
I didn't say that to you. I was joking. I thought it'd be a competitive match, which it was not.
It was a wallop. It was a wallop.
Did you do mustache power?
No, he
mustache power.
Mustache power. Yay.
Child hour over here.
So, John Cena beats Cody Rhodes. No surprise there. CM Punk comes out acting like a 5-year-old. Ranting and raving. I'm still a champion. This is a fraud.
He gets his rematch though.
He does get his rematch. So I guess there's no WWE title match at Elimination Chamber.
The match is not in the chamber.
Yeah, which is weird.
That is weird though.
I heard what they may do to for Raw's side of it is they may do John Cena, Ryback, and Sheamus versus 3MB in an Elimination Chamber tornado tag match.
That'd be stupid.
I wouldn't be shocked though. So then Vince McMahon came out and all this tomfoolery and said, Paul Heyman, we have a video that we'd like to show you later in the show. Not much else happened.
No, pretty much. That was
it was pretty much it. The Rock came out and said, said a few things.
Yeah.
So we get to the main part of the night.
The end.
Paul Heyman comes out, Vince McMahon comes out. And he's
Performance review,
and he shows him a pretty revealing video. Pretty much showing that he hired Brad Maddox and The Shield, and that CM Punk was behind it as well. And Vince McMahon got ready to say,
"You're fired,
Paul Heyman."
Didn't get to that part.
The worst guy in wrestling.
Zack Ryder?
The one that makes me vomit beyond belief.
Zack Ryder.
No, keep going.
Cody Rhodes' mustache.
No, although that makes me vomit too. But Bork Laser, or Brock Lesnar,
as we like to call him.
Yes, who I absolutely hate.
Right, Honey Boo Boo.
He came back and decided to give Mr. McMahon an F5. And it closed the show with Mr. McMahon dead in the ring.
Well, not dead.
No, he's dead.
He's dead. I got it.
Children.
But I guess they're gonna go with the Triple H angle here. You guys think, or what?
Looks like it. I mean, Vince McMahon is his father-in-law, so it looks like he's gonna protect his dad again.
So.
I think it should be Taker, but that's just me.
I'll tell you the one time that really got me. The one time that when Raw went off the air, I couldn't speak for about a half an hour. I was so like, oh my god, what the hell?
What?
Was when the limousine blew up.
Oh, come on.
That got me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, what? I thought it was really in there for a little bit.
Yes, they killed off their chairman on live television.
Was it not cool though?
They've done that a million times.
No, they've never done that before.
They did a thing where Big Show, I think it was Big Show, choked Sam Kurt Angle off a thing, and he landed on his head, and he looked like he was dead. They've done numerous things before where people have been quote unquote dead, and
but it was definitely pretty cool.
Yeah, of course it was cool, but it
was still like left me like wow,
and they couldn't continue with it because of obviously what transpired later on.
Yeah, but you and again, if you slowed down the video and watched it close, you could see where they spliced the video together.
Right? Yeah,
it kind of jumps. But
yeah.
So that's wrestling coverage. I know we got into a bit of a tangent about ranting about the business side.
But I agree. I mean, it's just one of those things.
You guys have a wild card?
I do. I have a little bit of a wild card.
I have one as well.
Go ahead, because I'm going to get a little deep.
I don't.
That's what
you
she
have a wild
said.
card?
She said
Go ahead.
This past weekend, the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona took place. And for the umpteenth dozen time, Team Chip Ganassi was victorious with the team of Juan Pablo Montoya picking up his third Rolex 24. So hats off to him. At least there's something he can drive, because he sure can't drive a NASCAR. Also on the team was Scott Pruitt, I think Charlie Kimball, Scott Dixon, and the final guy's name has slipped my mind, but hats off to Chip Ganassi and the boys for winning the Rolex 24 series. Believe it or not, I actually watched about the last 3 hours of that.
Okay.
But
that's a long race.
I didn't watch all 24 hours, or otherwise I probably would have won.
And here we are, hour 22.
As much as I love racing, I couldn't stomach to watch that much. I watched the first hour on Saturday, and I watched about the last 3 hours on Sunday.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
The first and the last.
Yeah, exactly.
See who covers it up.
That's right.
Well, now, Walker, I'm going to get a little bit deep here. A lot of people know what's been going on with me the last pretty much almost month and a half, 2 months now. You know, like, it's one of those things that when you look at life, you see opportunities that were there, opportunities that weren't there. And people do say that stuff happens for a reason. And, you know, and does that honestly make you feel better when you hear that? Honestly. Sometimes.
It depends on the situation.
But it's so cliche, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Right. It's very cliche. And I think I've learned over the course of the past month and a half that it's true. Things do happen for a reason, and I can't really elaborate, but it's definitely happened. And I want to encourage, because I know people that watch this show. I talk with many of you on Facebook, many of you follow me on Twitter, and, you know, you talk with these guys too. And I think, you know, you guys do talk with us, and, you know, we're very vocal with our viewers, and I think that's what really distinguishes us. I really do. And I know a lot of the people that watch the show, and I know some of you guys may have troubles in your own life. So when I tell you that I've been to the bottom of the barrel and I'm still standing, I want to encourage you to believe that when people tell you it happens for a reason, I thought it was the most cliche thing in the world. But it's true. I want you to know that if you get on anything that you think is too much, and I don't mean to get religious, because there's two things that this show kind of stays away from: religion and politics. But God does tell us He never puts more on us than what we can handle. And I fell to my knees and I said, God, I can't handle this. And it got better almost instantly. And I know that it wasn't almost instantly. It was maybe over the course of the last couple days, or the next few days from when I did that. But things do happen for a reason. And I've always been a believer in destiny, and you don't want to hear it when things like this happen to you.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear it. It helps maybe a little bit, like they said, but you just don't want to hear it. Because it is cliche. You want to hear something original. But to anyone that is hearing my voice right now, things do happen for a reason, and it does get better. And I'm living proof. You know, it's cliche, but it's true. And if anyone can use that now or in the future, I just wanted to throw that out there, because I know several of you. I've come to know several of you. And you're all very good people. And if I can help someone else in their own life, even if it's something as simple as, I promise you it does get better, you can trust me. And these people here sitting at this table now know what I've been through, and some of you know what I've been through. Guess what? It does get better, though. It really does. And I think that's what I wanted to say. I was kind of looking forward to saying that all day on the on the wild card, but it does get better, and everything does happen for a reason. Just stay strong.
I think that wraps everything up, I would think.
We have our idiot of the week.
Okay.
To kind of lighten the mood a little bit before we go. the soccer player, Big B, showed the clip here.
Hopefully I can find it.
You can find this clip, trust me. So, this European soccer player, to get back to it, a ball goes out of bounds. The ball boy gets the ball for whatever reason, I do not know. Doesn't want to give the player back the ball. So the player kicks the kid. Kicks him. I'm like, really?
So I guess he kept his eye on the ball?
I guess he did.
Wow!
It's
too easy.
That was awful.
Wow. It's too easy.
I know, but it's a kid.
It's too easy.
Oh my god, you ought to be ashamed.
How easy was that? It was easy as the joke you made about me earlier. It was too easy.
That's true.
Well, you're easy anyway. At least that's what Cody said. But anyway, so he kicks the kid. The guy gets tossed out of the game. Of course, he gets red carded. I think he should be kicked out of the game of soccer myself.
Remove him from soccer.
Remove him from soccer. It's ridiculous.
Turn your cleats and get out of here.
You're gone. You're done.
buddy. You're out of here.
Stone him.
So the idiot that kicked the kid in the soccer game. You're this week's Triple Threat Talk, episode 85, Idiot of the Week.
All right, after that interesting Idiot of the Week, if you want to like us on Facebook, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/TripleThreatTalk. You can follow us on Twitter at TripleThreatTalk. You can send us any comment or question you have at TripleThreatTalk@yahoo.com. And of course, visit our fabulous website, TripleThreatTalk.com. So for Triple Threat Talk, this is Big B.
This is Gary the Dr. Lockard saying we want to thank Cheryl Conley and Terry Bodie for everything they do. I want to wish Terry the best of luck in his new career as well. Check us out, www.thefanadvocate.com, www.triplethreattalk.com. This is Gary the Dr. Lockard.
This is Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers. Don't forget to follow Big B on his new Twitter handle at Brandon DeMiro.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And see you next week.
This is just Kendra. Thanks you guys for watching. See you next week.
This is Big B signing off, and I can't believe it. 15 episodes to 100.
Oh my god, we'll never make it.
What a ride. We'll see you next week. Take care.